Surveys, questions and answers from actual players of video games. Running one of these bad boys is the fastest way to know what players think about your game. Collecting information during development allows you to make the best possible game with your constraints. Focus on high value add for the least amount of effort. Hello Turtles, I'm Tim Bodette, and in this video you will learn how to create and run a survey and how that will help you make a better game. We will explore why you should use surveys to your advantage, what sort of questions to ask, and how to analyze the results. Stay tuned until the end for an extra bonus tip. Running a survey can provide insight into your audience to discover what they want most from your game, and will push your indie adventure forward. It can tell you whether the game is too easy or difficult, what people want more of, and what they dislike. This allows you to spend the limited amount of time you have for your project to add the most value. Focus on those features and experiences the players enjoy most. A survey from actual players will give you a more honest opinion about the game. When you share the game or project with friends and family, they are more likely to mislead you by being overwhelmingly positive instead of keeping an unbiased point of view. This happens because they know you and they don't want to hurt your feelings, even if you're asking them to be honest. Asking other game developers is also a good way to run into some bias issues. Developers see problems players don't, and focus on things that don't matter as much. They see the game from a more technical viewpoint, and craftsmanship makes developers care more about how things are done rather than why. Developers are more likely to notice the tiny details, while players see the bigger picture. Running a survey also allows you to get answers to specific questions you may have. Instead of gathering generic feedback, the survey digs deeper into your areas of concern. For instance, with my game, I was concerned about the difficulty and put together a survey to understand that better. Was there a certain level that caused people to quit the game? With the insights provided by the players that took your survey, you will know what provides the most value. That will help you reduce your time and effort spent on features or content that add little to your product. Focus on the things that add the most significant impact. To get a survey set up, first you need to come up with some questions. A survey should not overwhelm the players that take it, so consider and respect their time. Don't require long-form answers to every one of your questions. Try using multiple choice when possible. Multiple choice doesn't work for everything, but it makes life easier for the user. It shows them the possible answers, which reduces confusion and keeps the feedback limited, which can help you when analyzing the results. That said, there is also some value in adding open-ended questions that allow players to give long-form answers. You should make these types of answers optional. Don't require someone to type out the answer. Some players will write paragraphs of feedback and others will leave them blank, and that is okay. Maybe they are pinched for time or just have a hard time putting their thoughts into words. For my survey, I was focused mostly on the difficulty, so I added two questions: how difficult was the game, and what was the highest level completed. The first is more subjective to each individual player and will depend on their biases and life experiences. Say that a player has played very few games in your genre. They might find your game more difficult than other players. The follow-up question about the highest level completed is more objective and will tell you if players are finishing the game or stopping early because of a difficulty cliff. The objective of your survey may be very different from mine, so just take some time to explore what sort of feedback you are looking for. Keep yourself limited to 10 or fewer questions to respect the survey taker's time. You can also get quite complex with your surveys, changing the set of questions depending on the answers to previous questions. However, I have not explored that depth yet. Maybe it will be more useful to you. Before trying to run a survey to collect feedback about your game, you should probably have a solid alpha build. It would be even better to have a vertical slice with a nice experience from start to finish. Sending a build to players too early may leave them with a bad taste and affect your information. Developers offer better early feedback, but always remember to compare that advice with your own direction and desires with the project. Accelerate was a game I created for Ludum Dare 46, and as it was ranked in the top 1%, I wound up continuing the project and tossing it on itch.io for supporters of my adventure. This was effectively an early beta build. All the features were complete and the game had 10 levels, and supporters were thoroughly enjoying it. In October 2020, I made the decision to make it a more complete game and release it on Steam for Easter 2021. In the last few days of January, I had the bright idea of running a survey to see how other players felt about the difficulty of the game. This had the bonus advantage of collecting emails that I could use to notify when the game is released on Steam and or for future products. In less than 48 hours, with much help from my community, I launched a landing page, set up a mailing list, and prepared content for the 5 emails. With everything ready, Accelerate was put on sale and also offered for free to anyone that signed up with an email. The first email delivered the game for free, and the second ensured they got it running correctly while offering a tip. The third and later emails began to offer different tips and information about the game while starting to link the survey. Setting this up does take a little time and effort, but a funnel is one of the best things you can do for your adventure. A funnel allows your social media efforts to collect interested players so you can communicate with them more directly. Most posts on social media these days disappear immediately and often don't even reach all of your followers. Collecting the emails of interested players is of significant value. They call this a funnel because as people progress through the various stages, many will ultimately jump out of the process. The social media posts will get the most eyeballs, the landing page the second most, then fewer will see the first email, and still fewer will take the final survey or buy the product. But ultimately, some will. When I launched my survey funnel, I was hoping to collect 100 emails and get 25 results in the survey. Had I thought about the conversion rates a little more, I probably would have said 100 emails and 10 results, as 25% is a very high rate. I didn't know what to expect either. I just took a bit of a guess. In the end, I wound up with 85 emails and 12 survey results, which I was quite happy about. Once you have set up and collected the results from your survey, it is crucial to sit down with an open mind. Place your feelings to the side and remember not to take the criticism personally. Use the survey answers to find the strengths and weaknesses of your game. Lean into the things the players are enjoying and reduce the friction of the weaknesses where it makes sense. Balance the feedback with your own expectations for the project, as not everything will make sense to jump on. Don't read too much into the outliers. Just because one person thinks one way doesn't mean it should go in your game. Instead, keep your eye open for patterns that indicate multiple people are sharing the same opinion. When this occurs, it is likely something the game is needing or doing well, and you may want to lean into that type of insight further. One thing that stood out from analyzing my survey was players wanting checkpoints and for the camera to show the track better. The camera issue is actually a trick to reduce workload, since I'm not the fastest at art, and the game kinda needs a top-down camera to see where the egg is in the bowl. As for the checkpoints, I wanted to save time and not be required to test the game at each checkpoint to ensure it was possible. Instead, I chopped some of the more difficult or larger levels into smaller standalone sections, which in the end has the same effect as adding checkpoints. In case you missed it earlier, or just jumping through the video, the bonus advantage to setting up the funnel and running the survey is to collect emails of players interested in your games. This gives you some people to reach out when your game is released. Of course, if you offered the game for free as I did, perhaps they won't be buying this particular game, but an indie adventure contains multiple games. Setting up a funnel with a landing page, mailing list, and all the content was one of the best things I could have done for Accelerate. I highly recommend doing this for your projects to get honest feedback that you can use to make a better game. Use the insights from the results to focus your efforts on the most impactful experiences of your game. Give the players more of what they want and less of what gets in the way. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, share with other developers that have a game in development, and leave a comment or question below. Subscribe to the channel for more tips and tricks for your game development adventure. Until later, Turtles, have a good one.